Hello team, Professor Project, the professor here, Brent Fikowski. We are starting today with the burpee. Now, we're going to go over the bar facing burpee, and then we're going to go to a burpee box jump over, as those are the two most commonly seen variations of the burpees in competition. Obviously there's the standard burpee, which is just chest to ground and then jump up, or maybe jump and touch something. But this involves a little more rotation, a little more athleticism. So we're gonna go over this variation, and you can still apply those same things to the simpler version of a burpee box jump, or just a burpee maybe onto a target, or touching something, or just a stand and clap. So the standard with the burpee has sort of changed, especially this year in the open. It used to be chest to ground, jump over with 2 feet, land with 2 feet. It's changed. This year, you have to jump back with both feet. You have to jump up with both feet out of the burpee, out of the chest to ground position. And then again, jump with both feet over and land with both feet. It makes you stay a lot more rigid, a lot more kind of like that open and close you'll see in a toes to bar. Whereas the reason they did that is because everyone started stepping back and stepping up out of the burpee, reducing the level of fatigue on the core, and basically making it a little bit of a pushing movement, but it just kind of eliminated what really was considered a burpee and turned it into this step up, step down. They've eliminated that, so I'm not going to go over that too much. I'll do it a little bit in case you go to a competition where they allow that, or you go to maybe the open changes this year. But we're going to start with the harder variation, and I'm going to demo a few for you at, let's call it a moderate pace. Okay, so some things you notice there. I jump back and try to land with my feet and my chest at the same time. What I don't want is to put my hands down, my feet down, and then lower myself. That eccentric loading is a waste of energy. You might as well just pop down. The fastest way to go from up to down is to fall. Then from there, you want to use a little bit of that sort of rebound from your chest and from your legs to either pop up really quickly, or you can do a bit of a worm where you go chest up, so you're only basically pressing your upper body off the ground, then lift your legs up, and then once you get that sort of elastic motion from here to here, you continue that motion forward and then pop your legs up pretty much as close to your hands as you can. I'll show you that on the ground here. Going to require a little bit of hamstring flexibility, hip flexibility. If you're really tight and can't get any deeper than this, you're going to struggle. And what you might end up doing is hopping up behind your hands and then having to take 1 or 2 steps to get into a position that you can jump from. So I'm going to show this again, and then when I pop my feet up, I'm going to continue pushing my body over the bar. So I'm falling over the bar, and instead of going from here and jumping up and over, hopefully I can fall over the bar. My feet will follow through with me. I'm not very good at this, admittedly, but ideally you fall over the bar and you do basically a hamstring curl with both legs. Instead of jumping, you just go something like that. Looks a little silly. Some guys do it better than me. So I'll show you one burpee in real time here. Again, I jumped a little bit there, but you could see my body weight was carrying me forward, and it wasn't the actual act of me pushing that got me over the bar. I was pushing my body weight here and jumping. And now, if the standard is jump with 2 feet, land with 2 feet, the best way to minimize no reps is to eliminate any sort of spinning in the air. The more you spin as you get tired, there's going to be the likelihood that a judge is going to call you for jumping off one leg and landing with one leg. I'll show you what that starts to look like. If you slowed that down, you'd probably see it's going to start looking something like this and like that. As you get tired, it's going to be really hard for a judge to differentiate the two. If you do want to spin, a tip that I like to use is when you land on the other side, say I'm landing like this, try to land, think about landing with this leg a little before this leg, and it'll actually turn into them landing at the same time. So I'll do a few in real time where I'm spinning, and you'll start to see as I jump that it ends up looking like that, where the inside leg hits first, then the outside leg. So I intentionally try and plant that outside leg a little quicker than I would naturally be inclined to do, and then they will land at the same time. So I'm gonna do some burpees. This is what I would do the end of a workout where I wanna speed things up. I'll show you this. Notice I'm always, what I think about, so I'm not spinning in a circle and getting really dizzy. For you guys, I'm facing the camera. So whenever I jump around, I'm facing you guys, I'm facing you guys. Now when I'm in a competition, I am gonna review an event where there were burpee box jump overs, and I'll explain to you that when I do that, I always make an effort to face the direction of the floor of the athletes I wanna keep an eye on. Maybe they're the athletes that have more points than me, or the athletes I particularly want to beat in that workout. So again, drop to the floor as quickly as you can. You can snake up a little bit, chest up first, and then you're going to kind of initiate this hollow drive. Bring the legs up to your hands. As soon as you land, weight forward, pushing yourself over the bar, landing. And now from here, if you're doing, let's say, a moderate pace, this is what I would do in a workout where the burpees might not be the central aspect, or it's a 10 to 20 minute workout. I'm gonna jump over, and then I'm gonna take a wide sweeping step with, in this instance, the left leg to here. Maybe not that wide, to here. And then from there, I'm gonna turn my body and still make a jump back effort, which is the new standard. Up, over, 90-degree turn. The judge calls you on that for stepping back. Then you can still do that pivot, but just go to here. What I don't want you to do is to land like this and to take a bunch of steps, or land like this and do a full 180 in the air. It's a lot of energy. And you're gonna do something stupid like that. So either plan to land like this if you're speeding up your reps a little bit, but every time you jump and twist, it's a hell of a lot more energy than just jumping straight over something. So if I was to tell you to do, these, and twist, 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 it's harder to breathe when you're doing that. But if every time you jump up and down and over, you're in a straight line, it's something that's very repeatable, and then you worry about the turning of the 180 degrees after you've landed. If you're a larger athlete, or you lack some flexibility, or you get really tired, I'm gonna go through a few things in the burpee you can also practice. So let's say you start here. The further you are away from the bar, the easier that jump back is going to become. The jump back is still a part of the new standard. So if you're starting here, kicking my feet, 6 feet back if I'm 6 feet tall is a lot of work. So I might need to start more like here. Again, jump back. Now, again, limited flexibility. Jump up here, and then sort of take a little bit of a two-step run up, as long as you're making sure you're not going from here and going like that, because it's a no rep, you have to jump with 2 feet. That is basically the bar facing burpee. Remember, you need to stay straight in line with the bar. You don't want to start getting at this 45-degree angle. If you have a good judge, they're going to call you on that. Another thing, some people try and shave the distance between their body and this bar by bringing their hands in the push-up position closer and closer to the bar. What I like to do in an open workout is actually draw circles on the ground where I want my hands to be, knowing it's a safe distance from the bar. You'll see some people try and get closer and crane their neck. I mean, I don't think that's really going to save you the amount of time you think it's going to save. You're dealing with 3 inches there, and the more you do that, the more likely you're going to start turning or look like you're turning, and that one no rep is not worth that potential, 1/100th of a second per burpee because you're 2 inches closer to the bar. Do them right, do them quality, do them robotic, and just get fitter, and don't worry about those kind of shortcuts. Worry about other more intelligent shortcuts. I am briefly going to show you what they used to allow and what I used to do on basically all of my burpees, which was from here, I would step back, step up, and then as soon as my foot met my other foot, I would jump. I miss those days. Those are significantly easier. I can keep that pace all day. You can kind of tell I'm just taking really long steps. I'm bringing my knee to my chest after I get out of the push-up position, leaning over the bar, and then starting that sort of rhythmic step up, step down. And again, what I think of, so I'm not overloading one side of my body with excessive twisting or maybe lunging up with my right leg every time, is keeping my body open to this side of the gym. So when I come down here, it's here. I'm open to you. Jump. Open. Open to you all the time. On those ones there, I was basically getting to here and jumping back. It's a little quicker, but if I was still in this rhythm a little bit more, instead of getting to here and jumping back, it's still better to get into this position, down, up, here, and down to here, instead of just going to here and jumping back. They usually don't let you do that, but if they do, do that. Okay, we're gonna move on to the very similar, the burpee box jump over. So instead of jumping over a bar, you now have to get onto and over a box. Pow. Hollywood magic, we now have a box. This is for the burpee box jump over. Almost exactly the same. Assuming we see this in a regional or open or most local competitions, it's going to be the same standard as the bar facing burpee, except now we got this guy in the way. So the rule is likely going to be jump your feet back, hit your chest and your thighs to the ground. Jump your feet up at the same time. Take your time to recuperate. Jump up with 2 feet, land with 2 feet, get down however you'd like to get down. Sounds like I'm speaking a rap album. Get down, people. Here we go. And then, again, repeat on the other side. Sometimes they'll let you jump over the box without touching it, or maybe even require it. It's not really going to change much. If you ever have the option of jumping onto the box or jumping over it, I would always jump onto the box. I mean, I used to be a volleyball player. I can jump. But trust me, 99% of the time, the amount of energy it's going to take you and the risk involved with jumping over the box and not touching it at all, totally not worth it. So, again, just like the other one, jump back, jump up, and while you jump up, create that forward momentum to jump yourself onto the box and over. So, this is something I've been working really hard on. I used to be a volleyball player, like I mentioned, and I like to jump. So, my initial reaction to when someone says, do a box jump over, I'm going to jump over the box to a point where I'm basically landing with straight legs. I exerted the effort to get myself 24 inches into the air. That's a lot more work than doing this, maybe jumping 4 inches, bringing my knees to my chest and landing on the box like this, and just basically rocking my body weight forward and allowing my feet to kind of follow me. This low box jump over technique involves a little more risk. There's the potential for you, as you get tired, to trip on the box and or get onto the box and as you come over, lose your balance and fall. Keep that in mind, but it is going to be faster. And then once you get onto the box in that low squat position, again, to minimize the risk of getting hurt, I want you to just come off straight in line and then turn on the ground, just like we did with the barbell. Now, just like the barbell, if you're not as comfortable jumping and maybe your flexibility is limited getting out of the push-up position and you want to get a little bit of a run up, I'm going to show you how to do that. Still going to jump back, still going to jump up. Your hands are going to be in the same spot, but instead of your feet meeting your hands on the floor, they're going to be about a foot behind, which is going to give you room to take 1 step, 2-step jump. Anyone who's ever jumped or played a sport involving jumping knows you're going to jump higher if you take a bit of a run at the jump. So jump back, up, 1, 2, and over. Again, depending on the competition standards, if they require it to be a clear jump, but they're not as sticky on, let's say, landing with 2 feet at the same time on top of the box, you can do a bit of a rotation, especially if the box is wider. So if I've got a box that's maybe double this width, I can land at maybe 45 degrees, maybe even 90, allowing me to pivot on the box and land on the other side. That's if it's maybe end of a workout, you got 10 burpees left, pedal to the metal, or you've got, like a Fran type burpee box jump sprint workout, and those seconds really matter. But in most workouts that are between 6 to 20 minutes, doing it with your body straight on this box, pivoting once you reach the ground, is going to be almost as fast, basically eliminate any chance of no reps and be less energy expended. But I am going to do a couple fast reps here for you to see how that looks. And again, in order for me to stay consistent, so I'm rotating in both directions and I don't get dizzy, especially going fast, I'm going to always open up towards the camera. And in the case of a competition, I would open up maybe towards my number 1 competitor, the scoreboard, the clock, my fans, the camera. If I want to get a good picture of me doing a burpee box jump over so it's not my back, just be spatially aware of, it's an opportunity for you to check which way you're going. Just like I used to swim and you would sometimes do a flip turn and you could turn in both different ways so you could see if your competition was gaining on you or if you were ahead of them. So here we go. Fast burpees. And so on. Last thing, I did explain to you how to jump up if you were a little shy of jumping up the box. You could take a smaller jump out of your burpee, 1 step, 2 step into a jump over the box, leaning your body weight forward. If you're a little timid about getting off the box, then I would recommend stepping down off the box. So down with 1 leg. And ideally when you get down with 1 leg, obviously it's going to be very difficult for you to do it like this. It's probably riskier than jumping off for this rear leg, for that knee and that ankle. So I'm going to get you to jump up. Even if you land here just slightly turned, so you're going to land either upright like this or low, then immediately bring this leg down. And then as you turn, pivot on the toe on this foot that's on the ground into this position. I'll do a few of those at like a moderate pace that might mimic the pace you can hold if you're not as comfortable with this movement. I've basically given to you the most likely scenarios you're going to see in the burpee box jump over in a competition in the open, regionals, games, and local competitions if they follow suit with those rules. Again, like I talked about with the bar facing burpee with the barbell, they might allow some step-up variations. So I'm going to briefly go through those. I had someone say to me once, if you had a staircase, let's say they were 20-inch stairs, and you were running up them away from a mountain line, would you bound up them like a bunny rabbit, or would you take steps up them? I said, well, steps. He said, so realistically, if you're allowed to, the step up is going to be the more efficient way long term for you to get up on top of an object. So I'll show you what that looks like. If they don't require you to actually bound, to leave with 2 feet, land with 2 feet, or even leave with 2 feet and land a little bit staggered, I'm going to recommend you step up, or at least attempt a version of a step up in your training before the competition, and you know, make up your mind, make up your own mind as to what works better. Now this is a little bit tedious, but it doesn't take a lot of energy. None of it's very dynamic. You know, you can maintain that if you had to for a very long time. Depending on the rules, you might take variations of that. Maybe you'll take the step up, but you will do the burpee regular. But yeah, that's basically everything I know about doing burpees over a box. Have a good one. See you next time.